How dare you be an alien? How dare you be a bat?
Pretty much.
Batman versus Superman.
Yay!
And this is the extended cut. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
Okay, I'm Nathan, and this is my sister Ashley.
Hi, guys.
And we just watched Batman v Superman with the extra 30 minutes of extended footage, not seen in theaters. Okay, so I know you have a very strong opinion about this movie.
Yeah.
Now, there's been 30 minutes added to this movie.
Yes.
Has it changed your opinion of the movie without telling us?
Absolutely not. No.
Absolutely not. I kind of feel the same. We don't have the same opinion of the movie.
I know. Do you want to give your opinion first?
Well, how should we do it? Should we talk about the different things that we liked, or should we just say overall?
First of all, I think this is an okay movie. I think the acting is really good. I mean, lots of great actors. I really do.
Great cast.
Great cast.
We'll talk about the characters individually.
Yeah.
Okay. But, well, let's say, yeah, like we said, 30 minutes of extra footage.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes a few things a little clearer. Mm-hmm. That, that's not going to be true for everybody, I guess. But, yeah, it doesn't change
the problem
how
for
good
me,
the movie is.
Yeah, I was zoning in and out of this movie. I don't know. I don't know if there were too many things jumbled together all in one film or what it was, but it was just a little too much for me.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this movie. There's a lot of, well, they're taking multiple story arcs from the comics, as I understand it, and putting them together in one movie. Mm-hmm. That the story that they're trying to tell alone, just if you just focused on that one idea of Batman fighting mm-hmm. Superman for whatever reason you want to use, is enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I don't know. You got the dream sequences and all this stuff that was just seemed like it was just thrown in there. And believe me, I like dream sequences. I mean, I'm a major,
fan of dream sequences.
Well, I like those kind of fantasy
okay.
films. I love sci-fi, and I don't know.
Well,
but this was just way out there for me, and it took me out of the movie way too much.
A lot. It's a confusing movie, especially depending on your background. We should explain our background with these characters. I'll go first. I've done it before, so if you've seen my videos before, you might have heard this. But just really quickly, I'm gonna get some heat for this possibly, but my superhero fandom is TV and movies and cartoons and things like that. I am a comic book reader. I always have been. Not necessarily the superheroes. The superhero stuff, I mean, I grew up watching Super Friends and 60s Batman and Christopher Reeves movies. I loved those as a little kid, like a really little kid. I was obsessed with Christopher Reeves Superman and the 60s Batman show and Super Friends and some of the Marvel stuff, but mainly DC, mainly Batman and Superman. And I did watch Wonder Woman on TV. And there's a lot of good things in this movie I want to talk about, because I like the movie, but it's got some big problems. So we're going to talk about the problems. But I'm coming from the TV and movie background with the superheroes, but I'm a pretty huge fan, and I always have been. And for me, like the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, DC Comics Bible for me is the Bruce Timm animated universe from the 90s,
right.
Early 2000s. Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, they're all one connected universe. Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, that whole universe takes the best of the characters, the most known representations of who they are. Batman hates guns, would never kill anybody, that's his thing. Right. And none of the DC, none of the main ones, they don't really kill or anything like that. That's the definition of a hero practically for them, Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the big issues I have with this whole Zack Snyder universe they're doing. But that's my background with superheroes, and I am a huge fan. Mm-hmm. But what's your background?
I mean, I'm not so much a superhero person. Whenever I feel like watching a superhero movie, I put on, Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman. So there you go. I love that hokey, type of.
I know you love Christopher Reeve's Superman too.
I love Christopher Reeves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but like I said, once again, it's got a more fantasy feel to it, and these, I mean, I kind of said that, I was just, this film kind of made me feel a little depressed. It was just so somber, so much of a somber tone. Whereas the other ones are fun and hokey and stuff like that. And I loved the 60s Batman TV show as well.
Do you feel like superhero movies have to be campy?
No, I don't feel
Very
like they
serious
have
ones you
to
like?
be like that. Name another serious one.
Oh, gee. You like the Dark Knight trilogy?
I do. I did like that one, but I prefer the
Tim Burton
ones.
which is a good balance of
Mm-hmm.
hokey and serious. So the Tim Burton verse was really good.
Right.
Until Joel Schumacher
Right.
got a hold of it.
Well, okay. Like there are a lot of TV shows that I love. Like, for example, I don't know if anybody knows the TV show Dark Shadows out there, but let's say I love the 60s version of Dark Shadows, the original version. Not so much the new Johnny Depp one. I love it. I like watching the Johnny Depp one just to, kind of enjoy a hokey 70s film. But my favorite incarnation of that universe is the 90s one, which is a good mix of both the 60s one and the weird kind of universe.
Well, that's an interesting point because...
But it's darker. It's a darker version of it, So I'm okay with that. And actually, I love horror. So I don't know. It's just the fact that I don't know. There was just a lot going on in this film. I think that's what it really came down to.
It's a very heavy serious movie, and it's funny because the whole Christian Bale movies, that whole trilogy, is more focused on realism than this one, but. I don't know. I think these ones are even heavier somehow.
Yeah. My favorite part of this movie was Wonder Woman. I mean, she was incredible.
Yeah.
Every time that theme music came on and her, she just came on the screen, it just made the movie for me. I mean,
let's get the characters
completely
like one at a time. We'll get into the characters, but yeah. And you had a good point with an interesting point with Dark Shadows with the fact that it was not really trying to be hokey when it was originally airing.
It was very much
in the
that
1960s.
Time period, right?
Yeah.
It was a soap opera.
Of course, the Batman was trying to. That was purposely a comedy, but but that was interesting. They took that very hokey show, and in the 90s they interpreted it very, very seriously, very dramatic and realistic. But then you have somebody else, Tim Burton, doing it recently, and it was like just. Thought of it as a total camp thing, which was a surprise.
Yeah. Didn't prefer that
one. But, yeah.
Anyway.
We'll start talking about Dark Shadows if we're not careful, because we love Dark Shadows. But yeah, superheroes, Batman and Superman. I was thinking, let me grab this movie. I didn't hate this movie. I watched you watching this. I made her watch it. I went to see it at the movies myself.
And then I saw it in the theater with him.
I took her again.
Which the first time I saw it, I hated it. I could not stand it.
What did you say? You said you're done with superhero
movies? It actually made me not want to see another superhero movie ever again. Which, I mean, I'm usually okay with seeing superhero movies. Sometimes I'm not very much in the mood for it. I love, let's say, right now, Guardians of the Galaxy. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. And I love... Deadpool as well. I mean, those are my kinds of.
And those are great.
A little bit of they're fun.
You love Iron Man. You love the Marvel movies.
I love Iron Man. Yeah,
a lot of them, but and this is something to put your opinion in perspective. You said also you hated Captain America 3 at least until the big fight or something.
Yeah.
Or until Spider-Man came in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah, I mean, once Spider-Man came in, I was like, yes.
There might be just certain types of stories there that you don't care for.
Well, I don't really like kind of a lot of I don't want to say fighting because I'm okay with that too. Just a lot of military type stuff. I'm not really super into watching. It takes me out.
World, international terrorism plots and things like that.
I'm just not so much into that.
I think you also what was it? I think you said that you didn't also really like movies where the heroes were fighting each other. Or was that Mom who said that?
I don't think I said that.
Okay, that might have been our mom. But yeah, yeah, there's a lot of that whole like Middle Eastern terrorism stuff in this at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But that, I don't know, that's not really like
that wasn't the huge problem of this movie for me. It was just.
It was the tone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people felt that way.
But let's get into the characters too, because.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me just say real quick, my opinion of the film. I tend to like watch a movie and I like to like just enjoy what I like in it, and I'm gonna find stuff that I hate in it or that I don't like, and right now with a lot of the reviewing on especially on the internet. There's just like you either have to love it or hate it, mm-hmm. or you can say that it's just meh. But if there's anything bad in it, people just tend to like hate it.
Yeah.
With passion. I tend to try to find things to like in movies. There's a lot of things I do love in this movie. So overall, the first time I saw this movie, I came out of it knowing there were things that I didn't like, but overall loving it. And I think part of that, of course, was just seeing Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman on the screen all together.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's things about the characters. Let me just do a real quick plot synopsis. This is it starts out.
Spoilers for anybody.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
And we can talk about the plot. Let's talk about the plot, and then we'll get into characters. Well, it starts out. We get a recap of Batman's parents getting shot and all that. A lot of people complained about having to see that again. Do you have a problem with seeing that?
No, I love it. Anytime, I mean, show me the origins. That's actually what I thought this movie had a problem with, is that it didn't establish the characters super well. I didn't get an attachment to the characters very well. The development wasn't there, which I mean usually is okay because we're so familiar with Superman and Batman, but I need to feel attached to these characters, especially, we've never seen this Batman before, so I don't know.
Yeah, and like I think somebody like me who's seen a lot of Batman, Superman mm-hmm. stuff, and I've read some of the comics, some of the graphic novels, and of course I've watched a lot of the cartoons. I'm pretty familiar with these characters, but they are always different in the movies. I have to say one thing about these movies. I mean, these directors want to give us their interpretation of these characters that are iconic, and it's like, if you're gonna stray from what the characters are, I mean, why don't you just make your own characters, your own movie?
Right,
I mean, because you're making a movie that's based on somebody else's ideas. I think your job, at least if it hasn't been done to the best quality before, is to do the best job of interpreting the characters as they're meant to be, rather than doing your idea of like for example, there were characters in this that, because the director, I guess, or the writers, probably the director, just didn't like them. Mm-hmm. He just like brought in Jimmy Olsen for like 5 minutes and just killed him. I don't like Jimmy Olsen. My Superman universe doesn't have Jimmy Olsen. My Superman universe says there was somebody else that he did that with, and it's just
that was really annoying. And I mean, sometimes something like that can be refreshing or interesting, but in this case, it was just, I mean,
these are classic characters.
Lois didn't even know Jimmy in this.
Yeah. This was just he was just making a point. Okay, here's Jimmy Olsen. You were wondering where he was. Here he is.
Like that. No.
And that's the movie starts out with, like I said, the Batman origin real quickly, which I'm fine with seeing that again. I don't have a problem with seeing that again. I don't know why people complain. It was really well done.
It was really well done. I liked it.
And then it was important to the plot later on.
Right.
So very key actually to the resolution that we'll talk about later. But so you see that, and then you go to like the Middle East, I think, and Lois Lane is is trying to interview a terrorist or some kind of leader over there, and trying to find out if he's a terrorist or whatever. Everybody knows he is, I guess. I don't know. And this turns into a big fiasco where Superman has to rescue her, and that sort of leads into this plot throughout the movie where people are really coming down on Superman for all the people that get killed whenever he saves somebody, basically. And there was this big incident over in this country, and of course the previous movie plays in heavily. Did you see Man of Steel?
I think I maybe saw it once.
You saw like parts of it, right?
Parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's important to watching this movie. It's not going to make you like the movie any more or less, but it's
I'm sure
it's big in the plot, big part of
yeah.
the plot. But it had some similar problems, like the tone that you don't like in this movie. I think you noticed.
Same tone.
I think you noticed when you saw it. Yeah.
Why I was just in and out of the first one. Probably.
And yeah, and then so everybody's coming down on Superman, and I guess he's looking for a distraction, and he starts noticing how Batman is causing a lot of trouble, and I guess people are getting killed. So he wants to take down Batman. That becomes his agenda. And then meanwhile you have Lex Luthor, who is a very interesting Lex Luthor, but we'll get into characters later. And he hates Superman because he hates godlike figures, because he's very anti-god-like figures, because he felt powerless growing up, I guess. And and he is trying to pit Batman against Superman just to get them to kill each other. And that's largely the plot of this movie. And he does it in just, little subtle ways sometimes, but then also the bigger things. The whole thing with Superman, he's orchestrating all the hatred towards Superman.
Yeah, and they introduced Wonder Woman.
And they do introduce Wonder Woman. Yeah, she is throughout the movie.
Part of the,
that's true. And Wonder Woman comes in throughout the movie. She's there. She's like on her own little investigation into Lex, I guess. Oh, well, Lex has some information on her.
Yeah, so she's trying to figure it.
Yeah, she's trying to get back her secret information, because Lex has been following all these other super metahuman characters out there, like Aquaman, Flash. He's got his little file on all these other heroes. Or would-be heroes, future heroes, and
which I love that part. I thought was really interesting. I know a lot of people don't like that part, but I loved it. Yeah, it was very cool.
There's people who love it. I think there's people who didn't like the Aquaman sequence because he was poking at the camera like a caveman or something.
Once again, the hokey stuff I like.
That wasn't. I mean, they're just introducing the character. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there was the dream sequences. And the dream sequences were, I guess they were building on Batman's hatred for Superman, which was partly because of all the destruction he caused and people that Bruce Wayne knew personally that were getting killed.
I think you mentioned at one point that the flying creatures.
Or well, that's in the dream sequence. Yeah. Yeah, bless you. That's in the dream sequence. There were one dream sequence is just the funeral dream. That was no big deal. That was fine. Bruce Wayne has two dream sequences. Bless you.
Yes.
In the second dream sequence, it starts out. He's out in the desert, and he's looking for this. He wants to get a hold of some kryptonite to fight Superman with, because he just feels like Superman is a danger to everybody. So in this dream sequence, that at first you don't realize is a dream, but you figure it out pretty quickly, I think. Maybe because
I did not figure it out quickly. I was, especially because they had all the terrorism type stuff before. It was a little confusing. The transition was a little bit confusing for me, but I don't know. Yeah,
for me, I got suspicious. Well, the first, there's a shot where he's sort of looking at this landscape that is all like apocalyptic. Actually, there's a symbol on the ground that some.
I mean, once the flying creatures started coming out, I was like, okay, this is a dream sequence.
By that point, usually you figure out,
But
he's got some weird outfit on, and a lot of people complain about the outfit. A lot of people complain about how many people Batman shoots up in this movie, but I think all of the shooting up was in the dream sequence, and that was when that first started happening. I mean, shooting up with guns, not with heroin.
Problem for me is that if there's an audience member who's not so familiar with the comic books or something like that, they really need to be a little more careful with just doing sequences or shots that will completely take you out of the movie. Because I'm not so familiar with these future characters and whatnot. And instead of intriguing me and making me want to look more into that, it just completely took me out of it.
The particular dream sequence was the worst about that. And even as somebody who knows a lot of the characters and stuff, well, enough, more than the average layperson, I mean, it takes me out of the movie too. It's because they're just trying to set up all the future movies. Yeah. So they're putting in these dream sequences and things like that. Towards the end of the dream sequence, the Flash shows up from the future, trying to warn Batman of stuff.
That was really confusing.
That bothered me even the first time I saw the movie. That was one of the things that bothered me the first time I saw the movie, because it was just like, what is going on? I mean, what is this about? It was totally had nothing to do with the particular movie we were watching.
See, I remember watching this the second time. I don't even remember having seen The Flash the first time. I was so taken out of the film before in the first film that I didn't even see that. Like, my mind was just zoning off. I didn't even see that part. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
You have a hard time watching this movie.
Yeah, and usually I don't. I mean, I'm a huge movie lover. Movie buff,
we watch a lot of movies together and separately, and we're big movie people. It had another scene that like pretty much took us right out of the movie later. Do you remember what that was? It wasn't a dream. It was.
I do not remember. There were quite a few.
They were coming back. That was actually, I think, in the added footage maybe, where there's a guy getting shivved in prison, and that goes all the way back to a guy that Batman busted like early in the film. And it's just like, Are you
talking about when Superman appears with Batman that first time, and he tells him to...
No, but
I was taken out of the movie during that point.
Well, you were lost at that point, and that because you thought that was a dream also.
Yeah.
The whole scene with the Batmobile, and I think that scene that was largely to show off the Batmobile.
It was very confusing for me.
And a lot of people were saying this movie's a big mess. It has too much stuff that's unnecessary to the plot. And then it has some stuff that you just it harkens back to earlier scenes that weren't super memorable, or
right.
There's a lot of confusion, but there is, like, for me, I mean, I could pick up on the basic story throughout. My problem was less about the confusion, although I didn't like that dream sequence because it was obviously really confusing. But the flying things are called parademons. They're from another planet.
It was just all too busy, and I know I keep saying it, but it was just too busy.
Yeah.
The moments that I actually really liked and enjoyed were the more quiet moments where, I really enjoyed when...
Okay. my battery died. Okay.
So, back to what we were saying. The points that were really enjoyable to me were the quiet parts of the movie, more so of when he went to go see his mom back in his... when Clark Kent went back to see his mom. I even enjoyed when he saw his dad.
Really? In the flashback?
I loved that. I mean, I did. I really like that. And I know a lot of people do not like that, but
I mean, not a flashback, but it was... Yeah, he was on top of a mountain, and I guess he hallucinated his dad. It was weird. Or a ghost of his dad or something.
I enjoyed that. They were touching moments, and they connected us with the characters.
I didn't dislike that.
Whereas we hadn't gotten any connection to any characters earlier. So.
My only issue with the dad is I didn't... The casting is great. There's a running thing in these films that the casting's great. It's just some of the writing and stuff that I'm not going along with. Like the way Clark's father died in the movie, I still think it's totally stupid and pointless.
I don't remember the first movie if I saw it at all, so I don't remember.
He let himself get carried away by a tornado.
Interesting. Okay.
It was like, don't save me, Clark. Everyone will see. I don't know. Which I haven't watched it in a while. But I remember thinking, but what about he could do this and this?
Oh well.
It was dumb. But yeah, no, that scene was fine though.
I agree with you as far as I mean these are incredible actors. I've seen them in other films before. They're great. But some of their portrayals of these characters I did not really care for, or they weren't my favorites.
Yeah, let's talk about them before we get to the climax. Before we talk about the climax of the film, let's see here.
You want to talk about that?
I want to talk about the characters.
Yeah, I mean,
like Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yay!
What did you think of Henry Cavill as Superman?
I thought, and once again, I don't remember the first film of this series at all. I thought he looked great as Superman. Great acting, like I said, but not my favorite. He was a little depressed. He seemed like he was depressed all the time and slightly emo. I don't know. And it was a little sad for me to see Superman like this. And I know that in previous movies I've seen of Superman, he does have his moments where he gets like that, which is fine. Everybody gets like that. But usually he's a little more upbeat and a little stop it. He's usually a little more upbeat, and I don't know. I feel like if he were a little more upbeat in this film, it would have added something to it instead of having everybody a little bit depressed. I don't know, but and once again, I do not fault the actors for any of these things that I'm saying, because I mean, I've been in stage performances and plays and films where the directors or the writing is not so good, and I mean, actors have to deal with what they have, you know. So I don't know if he was told to play it that way, and he probably was.
Directors and writers can make an actor look like an idiot or just really a bad actor.
Right, agreed.
Yeah, I've had a little experience with that too. I've seen it. I mean,
and I don't know if that was the case, but once again,
I have a strong feeling that was the case, and it affected a lot of the actors in this film.
Like, can we go to Amy Adams?
We can, yeah. Wait a minute. Let me say something. Okay. Superman.
Yeah, sorry.
I kind of agree with you, totally, 100%. I think Henry Cavill looks the part, and probably more than anybody. If we ever got Tom Welling in a Superman movie, he was great on Smallville.
I love that part at the end where he finally got his little curly Q.
Yeah, I don't know if that was
scene.
Like they were thinking of that, but also I like this outfit better with the red underpants. I don't know about you, but I think this blue unitard is. I mean, this is the way it is in the comics now too. They lost the red underpants. He lost.
No, I like the original look.
It breaks it up. It breaks up the look. I don't want to touch his underpant area, but and even the yellow belts that he used to have. Now he has a faux belt for no reason at all. But anyway, that's superficial stuff. He's great casting. I thought all the casting was good, but it wasn't the performances in the sense of the acting that was all great. Right. It was the way they wrote the characters,
the choices that they were given.
The characterizations were just totally bad. And
I know that some people might say, "Oh, well, that was interesting that they did it that way," but I don't know. I didn't enjoy it as much. Well, let's get to
Christopher Reeve Superman. Awesome. Those movies, I said this in a previous video. I will say this for these new movies, and this is one of the things I like the most about them. What lacks in the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, that's what these movies have really strongly, which was phenomenal effects. They had good effects for the time in the Christopher Reeve movies, but these are like crazy good. And the flying is insane. Nothing wrong with the flying in the Reeve movies, but you don't have the kind of stuff.
See, and I would have to say,
and the fights and everything. Well, I mean, like, and as far as the hokiness, Sometimes it went extreme. I mean, you know, you can't turn back time by flying around the world.
I am very much an old school effects type person. I do not.
Well,
really,
me too.
I don't enjoy CGI. I don't enjoy. I can tell when it's fake.
Well, everybody can, but
I know, but for some reason, I really can, and it really takes me out of the film. And I know that with these extreme fight scenes, there's no other way they can do it. But for some reason, back in the day, they found ways of doing it.
They found ways of doing it. It's more creative and clever and all that.
It was more interesting and it was more realistic looking. I mean, when Superman and Batman were flying in the air and fighting at the very end fight scene, the climax. They look like cartoon characters almost to me. To me, they did.
I totally disagreed. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying that, but
are they really?
I mean, they say that about every CGI movie. Anytime there's CGI, they say, "Oh, they look like cartoons" because they want to complain. I thought it looked fine.
I'm not complaining just to complain. They really did to me.
I thought the CGI was fine. I don't want to talk too much about the climax yet. Let's keep going with the characters. But I didn't have any trouble with the CGI, and I prefer practical effects and CGI just for tweaking those effects. But just in general, the action that they had and the type of fighting was like real superhero fighting. It wasn't, and I love the Christopher Reeve movies. I grew up on them. I love them. But he would like take the S off his chest and throw it. Like, I don't know what the heck that was.
When did he do that?
He fought like Zod by taking the S off his chest and
like
throwing it like he's Sailor Moon.
Like a bear.
And it just wrapped up, like turned into cellophane and wrapped up
I think that's hilarious and awesome.
I don't know if it was Zod or Zod's sidekick.
I don't know. I think that's funny.
It is
funny.
I
would watch that. I would like it.
It's funny. It would have been really bad if he did it in this movie. And you can't turn back time by flying around the world backwards.
Okay, I've always liked that. I love time travel movies.
I always love that scene too. But
I think it's awesome. I don't care.
But the Christopher Reeve movies have all that lightheartedness and joy that's what's lacking. Everybody knows that's what's lacking in these movies, and they're trying to do it to separate themselves from Marvel. Don't do it. Marvel knows what they're doing, and you guys don't unless you're doing animation for some reason.
And it's possible to do a dark film and still have some kind of joy and I mean, where's the comic relief? It's something, you know?
Even the Marvel TV shows that are very dark, like Jessica Jones and Daredevil. I mean, I usually, or at least I used to lean towards DC guys, but this, Marvel's the one that's doing live action right. But DC their TV shows are doing really well now. I love Gotham. I know a lot of DC fans don't.
I haven't seen that.
But there's all these other DC shows that are very popular. Arrow and all these others, and I need to watch those. I haven't watched those yet, but I've seen little bits of them, and they seem to have a better idea of what to do with balancing, that lighthearted stuff with the dark stuff. You can't just go full dark. I know that when you get into the Justice League, they can get pretty dark sometimes. These characters are based more on Greek gods and things like that, the DC stuff, while the Marvel it's mutants and more human stories like regular people that get turned into something.
I like that kind of stuff.
It's a little, it's a different kind of sci-fi kind of, but so these are more stoic characters by nature, because you think of like Zeus and all those characters, Greek gods, you know, that's what the DC stuff is really based on. I get it, but you gotta have some humor just to watch the movie and get through it.
I mean, hey, let's use Jimmy Olsen throughout the movie and maybe put some,
that's what Jimmy Olsen used to do. He used to be comic relief, comic relief.
Let's not just throw him out of them. I mean, maybe he was trying to make a statement with that, saying this movie's not going to be funny in any sort of way, but that was a bad move.
And you wanted to start talking about Lois Lane.
Yes, okay. I do really like Amy Adams. I think she's a great actress. I've seen her in a lot of stuff, and in a lot of stuff she's really quirky and fun and interesting. Fantastic actress. I cannot stand her portrayal of Lois Lane. I can't stand it. It's really hard to watch, and and once again, it's not about Amy Adams. She's fantastic. It's just not.
Somebody is holding her back.
She's not Lois Lane to me. She's not.
No, she's not. And
but
you've
she
seen
could
her.
be. She could be Lois Lane.
I've been saying this forever.
In these films, she's not Lois Lane.
We've seen her play Peppy,
sassy
characters.
You know, like,
here, she's just trying to be a journalist and very serious, and then there's all that you kept calling Superman emo Superman.
Yeah, he's
and
really emo.
their relationship didn't help that.
Also, I mean, they didn't have much chemistry to me.
Yeah, but I wonder how much of that was what they did to her character.
Maybe.
And his character. I mean, they want this. They were writing them as being this couple that, you know, just couldn't be happy together.
I was more interested in seeing what was going to happen with Batman and Wonder Woman.
Oh.
I mean, that was interesting. Like that one scene they had together, I was like, okay, or at the party or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just I love Amy, but it was just
Amy Adams is awesome.
Not feeling it.
And I think that's the writing. I think that's the directing. I think it's got nothing to do with.
I love Margot Kidder. You know,
Margot Kidder was the
awesome.
best like Lois in live action.
Yeah.
Well, I know you didn't really watch Smallville.
I did see her though in Smallville. I'm not sure what the actress's name was, but
Erica Durance.
Yeah, I really enjoyed her portrayal of it, and she did it in a more. She wasn't so quirky. It was like a little bit more serious than Margot Kidder, right?
No, it was pretty quirky. Well, Margot Kidder. I mean, those movies were a little more campy.
They were amplified and campy.
Yeah, a little more. But she was similar to Margot Kidder in personality. They were being Lois. I mean, as far as I know, Lois. Mm-hmm. The animated versions of everybody are my main ones, but Smallville. Best Lois. And
I'm not familiar with the animated. With Lex a lot of the did they portray her quirky and sassy?
She was spunky and sassy.
Okay.
Maybe not. Your favorite would probably still be Margot Kidder amongst all of them.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I understand being creative and putting a different spin on things and everything, but with this movie being so dark and so.
Just heavy.
We needed some of that spunkiness. We needed some
every chance,
some funny moments.
Every traditional chance for any lightheartedness or comedy was just removed
completely
or altered. The characters were altered, just except for the villain. But we'll get to that in a minute.
And honestly, as a kid, I loved Superman as a kid, and actually, I loved him more than Batman because of that lighthearted feeling, and he was like my superhero as a kid. And then I went to Batman for a while, and now I'm just like, I don't know, I like Deadpool.
Between Superman and Batman, it's a tough choice for me. I remember playing that I was Superman more.
Mm-hmm. I was always playing I was Supergirl. I had the outfit and everything. I was a little girl.
I had the biggest crush on Batgirl. So on that '60s show. Oh God.
Yeah.
Yvonne Craig.
Yeah.
And then but Spider-Man, I was always playing that I was Spider-Man. I was
super into Spider-Man.
I was, but mainly I was a DC guy in general. Yeah, but
Anyway, who else have we not talked about? Batman.
Let's talk about Batman.
Batman.
Oh. No.
I liked him in this movie.
It's
oh wait.
It's
wait a second.
It's Batfleck.
Batfleck.
Okay. Not this guy in the incorrect suit.
Is that Keaton?
That's Keaton.
Oh my god.
Yes, but
I kind of want this. I want this really bad.
Batman is supposed to have two tones to his suit, and that always bugged me. The all black suit. Although I love that movie. Well, why is it all black?
I love this yellow though.
Oh, I like the yellow. Yeah, you know what?
Awesome.
It makes more sense for him not to have bright yellow.
It's very cool.
Growing up with Adam West Batman, I always loved that yellow shield. Although I got to where I think I might have changed to where I like more of the black.
Look at his face. Isn't he the best Batman? I love Michael Keaton. He's great.
He's good, but
anyway, back to this movie. Okay.
Who was also a great
He
Batman.
was fantastic. I really liked him.
And I actually had to warm up to to Batfleck now because
the first time I saw the movie, I wasn't so much into it.
Yeah,
but I think it was everything else that was coming good in that movie.
I think you were in a mood of
Possibly.
just like everything in this movie's emo. And you were calling him emo Batman too, and watching it again, he really wasn't.
He wasn't. No, he was playing Batman basically.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was really a great really Batman.
I have to say, I might even like him more than Christian Bale as Batman. I really do. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah. And I loved the Christian Bale Batman.
Too.
I didn't even have a problem with his voice that everybody had a problem with. He was doing that voice. Where are the drugs?
Well, didn't he?
Where are the drugs?
Didn't Affleck do a little bit too? I think
Affleck had a voice thing in his costume to make his voice deeper, and which makes a lot of sense and everything. And at times it sounded a little bit like one time I remember it sounded a little bit like Bale's, but he was. I thought he was great. First time I wasn't sure how I felt. I was picking up a little bit. I don't know why. It's like first time you watch him, you feel that emo thing. I think I was just bothered.
I'll tell you why. It was because they didn't develop him as a character, and you just jumped right into him being Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed that little scene at the very beginning, but I mean, we got to see a little bit more than that, and that would have really helped if we had a whole other movie of him being. And I know that everybody's saying, "Oh, well, we don't want to see another Batman movie origin story or whatever." But we need it. You need that, or else
we needed to get to know all these characters with their own movies exactly the way Marvel did it. They didn't want to. Well, for one thing, they wanted to play catch up with Marvel, and they didn't want to do things exactly like Marvel. But if something's working, it's working for a reason.
I mean,
and Marvel stuff is working.
They're trying to pump this stuff out, you know.
You got to do it well.
Do it right.
But the only thing, and this is probably one of my, if not my biggest problem with the whole movie, which in general I liked the movie, but then the things I didn't like made me angry about it because, you know, why did you screw that up? You shouldn't be screwing that up. Anybody can do this right. I mean, I'm not saying anybody can do it as, you know, like cinematic quality, but as far as like
the storyline,
the mistakes that you're making. Yeah. People should be able to spot those. Everybody's, you know, called you out on this. But one of my biggest problems was just Batman was getting played by Lex Luthor, the villain of the movie. He was playing both Batman and Superman. I just don't buy it. I don't buy anybody playing Batman, the world's greatest detective, who was just I know he's emotionally unbalanced, but I just don't buy it. I don't buy the way that Lex was doing it. I don't buy that Batman wouldn't have been able to,
you think he would have
with his detective skills, figure out what was going on a lot faster, because that was my big problem with the movie.
Was that your major problem with the movie? Your main problem?
I want to say it was the way. It's kind of tied to it. The whole idea of him hating Superman, I didn't feel like there was enough reason to change Batman as who Batman is, as I know him, since we didn't get to know this one particularly. Although he should be a representation of Batman, not an interpretation by Zack Snyder, the director, of how he wants Batman to be. You know, I'm okay with making movies like that after some movies have been made perfectly or really close, you know. Okay, we've got ideal Batman. If you want to make your weird Batman movie, go ahead. I mean, give us, especially because this is the DC cinematic universe. It's meant to compete with the Marvel cinematic universe. Give us the basics like Bruce Timm did in the animated shows. He gave us the truest versions, in my opinion, of these characters, the best versions you could give us. I mean, you know, don't just be like, I want to make it like this.
And I didn't follow that show as much as you did, but I really enjoyed, when I was a little girl, I loved watching that show. I have to show you those. It was really good.
I know you say you're not going to watch any more superhero stuff, and I'm going to have to show you those cartoons.
The new Guardians is coming out soon. I'm watching that.
I love Guardians of the Galaxy, but to me, that feels more like sci-fi.
I love sci-fi.
Than superhero. But when they start working with the Avengers, it'll be different. But watching this the third time, like we did today, that was like the third time for me.
Oh, it was the second time.
Because I mean, I watched it as soon as I bought it, but I was kind of doing other stuff. So, but like for me, this was really watching it. The
I
third
really
time.
enjoyed him as Batman.
And I got a lot more enjoyment out of watching the movie because of that. Because
Yeah.
he really was a great Batman. But you know, there were things in the movie, and this was a big part of it. It was such a mess of trying to show us so many things, but not showing us other things. Like why his mansion was burned to the ground, or not burned to the ground, but totally like destroyed. It was burned up and everything.
Which I don't know if some of it, if that was part of the comic book, if they were trying to connect that in any way. I'm not sure. If some of you guys know, leave some comments about it in the comment section. I mean, maybe.
But you know, for anybody going to see this movie that doesn't know the comics,
it's not.
Why is Batman's place destroyed?
Nice
Why is he living in a
that.
lake house? It's. But
strange.
anyway, that's Batman. Really, actually, mostly done well. Oh no, the big thing, one of the bigger things for me was that he. Well, everybody was saying this Batman's killing a lot of people in this movie.
Oh yeah.
And when I started to go along with that, yeah, he is killing a lot of people. That really bugged me. My version of Batman, you know, that I'm used to is he doesn't like guns and he doesn't kill. Even in what a lot of people consider the best Batman movie ever, Mask of the Phantasm. It's an animated.
It's animated.
Yeah, Commissioner Gordon knew that Batman wasn't the one killing those people because Batman, he said, the Bat doesn't kill. The Bat doesn't kill. Now, maybe he has in some comics, but...
They didn't have Commissioner Gordon in this one.
No, he wasn't in this. He just wasn't in it. We'll probably see him in one of the standalone Batman movies. Yeah, I love Commissioner Gordon.
Me too, usually.
And now Commissioner Gordon was the #1 favorite thing for me of when Gary Oldman played him in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Gary Oldman.
That was my
always
Commissioner
awesome.
Gordon. You know,
Yeah.
that was like, wow. I love Gary Oldman.
Me too.
Now, I do think there were things in that trilogy. We should review that trilogy
Yeah,
sometime.
because
there were things I didn't
barely
like.
remember the first movie.
And there were things I loved, but yeah. So
let's get to.
who should we talk about?
Alfred. I want to talk about
Alfred.
Mhm.
Okay.
The first time I saw this movie, and by the way, I love the actor who portrayed Alfred. He's a fantastic actor.
Oh, that's Jeremy Irons who played
Irons.
Scar on The Lion King.
Yes.
And Humbert in Lolita.
Oh, okay. Nice. The first time I saw this movie, I didn't know how I felt about Alfred because usually he's like this nice grandpa type character, you know what I mean? And he usually I feel like he's really smart, and he's being a mentor for Batman so the first time I wasn't sure how I felt. I mean, he was a real badass in this movie.
Well, he was a cantankerous, grouchy guy.
Yeah.
If you want to see him as a badass, watch Gotham.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, so I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I didn't hate him. I didn't love him, but it was cool. He was cool, This second time I watched it, I really enjoyed him. I really liked it, He made it a little more refreshing,
I love it.
With all the craziness that was going on, I actually really enjoyed his scenes because he was a little more down to earth and
he was like, he just had his fill already.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
With Batman, and he was just there because, well, I'm his Alfred.
He was
I gotta
almost
be here.
a slight comic relief.
Oh yeah, he was. He was comic relief. No, he was. He was just. I mean, it was a mean comic relief.
But it was funny.
It's like, this is the only comic relief we're gonna give you. This grouchy old man. But
it worked.
And we did, like, when we first watched it, I think we were both kind of like, he doesn't seem super old for this old Batman, because I think this Batman is like, what, 50 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if Affleck is really that old.
Well, I think that's what I was kind of iffy about in the first movie, is he didn't seem old enough to me, but
yeah,
because obviously, I mean, I watched the Tim Burton Batman all the time, and I'm not sure the actor's name who played him in that one, but he was quite.
I can't remember.
He was quite older, or he seemed quite older.
Yeah, he was in some Hammer.
And then I loved Michael Caine as Alfred. I thought it was awesome. But yeah, Jeremy Irons was really good. I liked him as Alfred.
Yeah, I love all the Alfreds. I mean, I grew up with the old 60s TV show Alfred. I like that one. It's
I
like an old man.
I barely remember him. I'm gonna have to check
But
that
the
out.
best everything was the animated series.
Yeah, I'm sure. Who next? Oh yeah, of course. She was my favorite. She was amazing.
Stole the show. Stole the
show
movie.
Completely. And those looks that she gave during the fights,
smile and
oh
everybody got a stiffy in that smile scene.
Yep.
The guys.
Everybody, it was awesome.
Yeah, where she's fighting and she gets a little smile and everybody talks about it in their reviews. And
she's complete badass in this. I loved her wardrobe. It was fantastic. Totally connected to the Wonder Woman outfit. I mean, she was constantly channeling that Wonder Woman look, you know.
Cleverly done with the boots too. These aren't actually boots. They're like shoes.
They're like
lift up with like armor, leather armor on them.
Her theme music is so awesome. It's very creepy and kind of weird. It kind of is out of place in this symphonic, you know, type film, but it's awesome. It's got that campiness that I wish some of it had, you know. It's very cool. I love it.
At least the music, yeah.
Yeah, the music.
I want to talk about the music because since Tim Burton's Batman, I haven't heard a theme for a superhero that really that was memorable to me.
Yeah.
You know, well, I'm not really thinking about Marvel or anything like that, but like the Batman movies that we've had since then, some people say they have great music. Some people say these movies, Man of Steel and this one, have great music. I don't remember. I can't hum any of that stuff.
And it's not.
It's not like.
It's not a matter of.
It's not like that, and it's not like bum 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 bum. It's not like that. It's her theme.
Yeah,
you can't really hum it much, but it was awesome.
I'm sure once we hear it enough, we will be humming it.
They need to clone John Williams. John Williams is a god, and they need to use him as much as they can.
But I'll tell you what, it's not a matter of the theme music or the soundtrack being good or not, because
it was good. It was good music.
It is good. It's great, you know.
But
it's just not
doesn't
memorable.
jazz you up
it's not
like a John Williams theme would.
There's no hook
her
to
music
it.
jazzed us up, but
I mean.
But it's still not something you're gonna like remember, like, or you can remember it, but you can't like do what we just did with those themes. You can't go around humming them very good, but
earworms.
No. Yeah, like that Indiana Jones stuff and E.T. and all that stuff is so good.
All of them.
But yeah, it's Superman and Batman. And when we always wanted to see a Batman Superman movie, we wanted to hear those two themes together in it. You know.
Well, and then like
I know I knew you can't do that.
You got Prince and everything.
Danny Elfman and
so good.
John Williams.
But anyway, Wonder Woman was fantastic.
Stole the show.
I cannot wait for her film.
We just saw the trailer today, and it looks insanely awesome.
I'm not done with superhero films because I cannot wait to see this Wonder Woman film.
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. And we did see the trailer for Wonder Woman today, and it looked amazing. I love. It's funny because I said earlier that I don't usually like combat films and things like that, but I love films on World War I and World War II. So I don't know what that means, but
it's interesting they're going to World War I with her, instead of World War II. And like you said, that maybe
I think it might be because of Captain America. They're really
differentiate from Captain America, maybe. I like World War II stuff better, but
me too. But it's still similar, a little bit with the theming and stuff.
They could always do the thing where they go back in time and help fight. There was at least an arc in the animated series where they went back and helped it out in World War II.
Yeah,
so they could do that, and they're not going to do it in Wonder Woman.
That would be awesome.
But they probably won't. I don't know.
And you know what? I grew up watching the TV show, the Wonder Woman TV show.
Yeah.
And I really liked.
I need to revisit that.
I really loved that Wonder Woman, and I was afraid if they were gonna do her justice, but I really think.
Did you like the look of her? Because there was a big controversy. Oh, she's so skinny and she looks like a model.
No, I think she looks fantastic.
I thought, and I, of course, I lean more towards petite women than I do.
But I mean, I love Xena.
Amazonian.
I love Xena, Warrior Princess. I mean, I think they all look fantastic. I don't think that she was. She pulled it off completely.
She did.
She totally pulled it off. So
yeah, and I mean, you could have done it, in other ways, but that was the way that worked best for me. I thought because I don't usually go for one woman. She was pretty hot. But anyway.
Did we mention everybody?
Perry White. I love this Perry White.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he's great. You said he reminded you of
Kolchak.
Kolchak's boss Vincenzo.
Yes.
If you've ever seen the old TV show, Kolchak
reminds me of him, and I mean, we love Kolchak.
Yeah.
Love it.
Kolchak and Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
Old horror TV show.
Dan Curtis.
Campy horror.
Dan Curtis.
Yeah. Dan Curtis. Yeah, we were talking about Dark Shadows before, and we were saying how they did a really good job in the '90s version, but I think that was Dan Curtis.
That was Dan Curtis
covering his own stuff.
Maybe,
so
yeah.
He's the one who took it and he did
it was
yeah.
completely well done. But Perry White, so good in this.
Was great.
So good. I think.
So the big one that we haven't talked about is Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah.
That was Jesse Eisenberg from Zombieland, and he was in that. I haven't seen that movie about Facebook, but that
once
was a big
again, Jesse Eisenberg.
Fantastic actor.
Stuff. Fantastic actor. So good. Not my favorite Lex Luthor. He
possibly least favorite Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah, totally.
Honestly, though, I want to say this. I think he could be an amazing.
He
Lex
had
Luthor.
Potential. I saw the potential in the portrayal.
There are times in there where you can see there were a few good lines, I loved whenever he was interacting with the senator.
You know what I think it was?
I hated that he killed Mercy.
Yeah.
And why? Just to make himself look a little bit more innocent.
Yeah, but Lex Luthor's crazy. I mean, he does that.
But he should be more like. I like Lex like the serious, sleazy kind of businessman who's being sneaky, and he becomes a politician, and he's Michael Rosenberg on Smallville, best Lex ever.
I like
a little bit more funny, but
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman. Yeah, that's
and
a little bit
Kevin
more funny.
Spacey. Hell yeah.
Kevin Spacey was great. One of the best things about Superman was it Superman Returns. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that movie had some issues, but it had some pretty cool stuff.
I think the first time I watched this film in the theaters, I think what I took away from Lex was that he was a little too. I mean, Lex is supposed to be nuts, crazy, but his movements and stuff was a little too out there for me. But you know what I was just thinking of? I think what made it so apparent that it was so out there is that the rest of the film was so somber. So, his movements and stuff were not...
he was a Batman villain. They made him a Batman villain, not a Superman villain.
That's a good point, yeah.
He's not really usually crazy until he's been dealing with Superman for a long time. Then he starts grouping all the other villains, and then he starts going
Arkham,
nuts.
Right? When he gets into Arkham, that's when he starts going a little crazy.
They're putting him in Arkham here. I don't know if he was in Arkham in previous
wherever
things. He's usually like a businessman and politician. Since he originally was like a mad scientist, but
which I really like.
Not so much like Insano like the Joker, but just like he was a scientist who created horrible death weapons, and probably just to hold hostage, like the world hostage or whatever. But
anyway,
as I know Lex, which I haven't been reading the comics. The thing about the comics, and the one reason I defend myself for using the Bruce Timm stuff as my main go-to is, I mean, the comics reboot themselves a lot. I mean, at this point, can you really say it's not like the comics? Because the comics, every so many years, they have Crisis on Infinite Earths and parallel universes, and they just start all over from scratch.
Seems amazing to me. I love
parallel
universes.
But
he had potential, but it really didn't.
He seemed like the Riddler. He should have been like the Riddler.
Yeah, he was almost more like the
maybe
Riddler.
He'd be a good Joker.
Maybe.
I mean, I think we're gonna get a good Joker, but yeah. And it's not the Joker I would. I'm not saying the casting in Suicide Squad is bad at all. I'm not into this tattooed whole metal teeth Joker they got going.
Yeah,
but I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be a great movie. But anyway, yeah. He was acting to me. He was just acting like a Batman villain. And my experience with Superman villains, there's less of them are just. I mean, you've got some crazy ones, but I feel like most of them are a little bit more serious and stuff. but I don't mean serious like this movie, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just a little bit more.
I know what you're saying.
More like straightforward, not just like I'm insane and I spend most of my time in an asylum.
Right.
Like all of Batman. Batman's whole thing is
Joker.
about Batman is about mental insanity and stuff. You
Which
know,
I love that stuff.
all his villains are in the asylum. That's where his villains come from. He belongs in an asylum.
Yeah.
He really does. But since he uses it for good, no problem. We're cool with it. But
I think that's all the characters, right?
That's probably most of the main
ones.
characters. Anybody else is.
Sorry,
off the top
Jimmy
of my
Olsen.
head. Jimmy
You
Olsen.
could have been good.
I feel like there's somebody else. And in the deleted scenes, they had this blonde scientist girl.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that's
Very
the extra
cute.
footage stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked her. She added that quirkiness that I needed in that film.
She did.
I enjoyed it.
It was so different, though. Her quirkiness
That's what I'm saying.
was so different from, I know, but,
That's what I'm talking about, the portrayal of...
but because it was just her when you're watching it, it all of a sudden, it doesn't fit because she's the only one doing that. So it's like...
But that's what I'm trying to say about the portrayal of Lex, is that it was almost like it was not fitting with the mood of the film. But I don't know. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I will say, as we get to the climax of the movie, I did like Lex a lot in that whole climax scene where he's sicking Superman on Batman, and he's like
I
got
did
a
enjoy
stupid little
that,
egg timer thing.
I mean, there were moments.
He wasn't acting like
that's the point.
very Lex-like, but he was acting like a Batman villain. He was acting like the Riddler or the Joker.
Right.
But he was so good. I wanted him to just be a Batman villain.
You know which scene I really liked was when he was doing he was messing around with Zod or.
Oh, when he was putting Zod in the water.
Yeah,
and
I
cutting his
enjoyed
hand.
that film. That part of the film.
Yeah, that was a great scene. There are great scenes in this movie here and there. Some people didn't like that. There are people who really hate that scene because of the science of it. Like, I mean, come on.
I love that stuff.
You can't really judge the science in this movie. I mean,
Oh,
unless you're taking off your
inaccurate?
shield and throwing it.
They're saying
or flying around the earth and making.
They're saying the science wasn't inaccurate. Is that
Well,
what they're saying? I mean,
guess so.
It's a movie, people.
It's
a movie.
It's a Superman Batman movie.
Exactly.
But yeah, there was I've seen
your mind.
reviews where people are complaining about that. Just like, how can you just put a body in water and cut your hand and make a monster baby? I don't know, but
the water part.
The computer had I got this just from watching it, that the computer had in its system some kind of recipe for a monster baby, and it made it.
Anytime somebody like cuts their hand and then tries to like jump in like really dirty looking water, it grosses me out. I can't do it.
When he walked into that water, I was like, don't walk in that water.
Please
don't walk in that water. But yeah, there's some really good. He's not horrible. They're just not. He's not playing Lex, and I don't know again if it's the director that told him to do that or if it was his idea. But like, there's times when I just know he would be a good Lex. That last scene in the movie almost the last scene where Batman comes to Lex's cell. And they've got Lex's head shaved, and he's acting crazy there, like before. But man, he looks like a cool Lex there, I think, with his head shaven and everything. But yeah, the climax. We should have said at the beginning of this that there's spoilers. We're just giving everything away.
I love
Diane Lane as Superman's mother.
Diane Lane is one of my favorite actresses. I have loved her since I saw her in Streets of Fire, one of my favorite films.
Good movie.
But yeah, she's an awesome Martha. She's an awesome Martha.
We talked about that before.
That's a big deal in this film.
Yeah.
I love her in that character. I mean, it's not it's.
Mama.
Oh, Lambert.
Mama.
It's not. I mean, I'm sure. I don't feel it's not a very complex character as far as they're not really going into much of her character in these films. I don't remember the first film, so. Some people don't
like the advice in this movie and the previous movie that Clark's parents are always giving him, that they don't feel it's very Superman parent-like compared to like previous movies.
Me.
Though they're just kind of like, well, save him if you want. If you don't, let him die. They're always telling us. And like in the previous movie, Kevin Costner is like telling Clark, he's arguing about the school bus. Clark, as a little boy, saved, or a teenager, I don't remember, saved all these kids from the school bus that was sinking in the water. Well, and the kid's like, did you want me to let him die? Because Kevin Costner didn't want
I get that,
everybody to know.
I mean, as a parent, they're more concerned about their son than anything
I didn't really have
else.
a huge problem with that.
And I mean, that's how they're portraying it, you know?
Yeah.
They want their son to be happy. They don't want him to be in danger. I mean, that's the kind of advice they're giving him. I understand that it seems a little selfish, but that's life.
The only point I didn't get it was the point where in the first movie where he lets himself die because he's trying to prove a point to Clark. It's been a while since I've watched it, but it just didn't seem necessary. It seemed like it was like they just wanted to sacrifice Jonathan Kent. Jonathan Kent doesn't even die in the comics. That's something they get from like the Christopher Reeve movies, I think.
For once, I would like to see a film where
he's still alive. Lois and Clark, the TV series, and then the animated shows.
I loved that TV.
I've been talking about those animated shows all the time.
Very much, though.
I have like the first 3 seasons.
They did a very interesting take on everything.
Yeah, but, we need to watch that. I haven't really watched it. I've got them, and I haven't watched them.
So the climax, you want to talk about that?
The climax. Lex Luthor has. Spoiler alert. We should have said spoiler alert.
I did earlier.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, we're going to just tell everything now. We already have. So Lex Luthor has a Martha Kent, Clark's mom. He's holding her hostage somewhere. He's got some thugs doing that. Mm-hmm. And he's doing this to get Superman to go kill Batman. He wants them to kill each other. He really wants Superman more than anything. He wants him dead. So he's telling him to go fight Batman. He knows Batman has a kryptonite spear and other kryptonite weapons that he's sort of, Lex has manipulated into Batman's hands, basically. And so Batman's got this Batman weapon, weaponry to kill Superman. And as a backup, Lex has also created this giant monster who, if you know the comics or some of the animated stuff.
Which I thought looked so fake.
I didn't think it looked. I didn't think it was well designed. It was kind of generic looking, like they usually do.
Yeah, it looked like every other monster I've seen.
It reminded me of the one that fought the Hulk, and that was in the MCU, the first Hulk movie, the only Hulk movie they made for the MCU. That character was also from the comics, and in both cases they didn't make him look like they do in the comics, but. Bringing in a whole nother story, a whole nother graphic novel they should have saved for a much later movie. They decided to bring in the story of the death of Superman, where Superman fights Doomsday. That's what this character was. I don't think this is the real origin of Doomsday, but in this movie, Lex makes him by combining his DNA, his blood, with Zod's dead body and whatever else the computer added in the ship. It was Zod's ship, I think. And so he cooked up this monster as a backup if Batman failed to kill Superman. So he tells Superman, he shows him horrific pictures of Martha Kent that he's got her all tied up. I mean, almost as bad as this horrific picture I saw in this other movie recently. I forgot the name.
I almost started tearing up when I saw those pictures. It was just awful. Yeah,
it was really graphic and realistic, and that was like really make a big deal out of it. But in the Superman Batman movie, that was really graphic.
Oh, really?
Well, it was realistic looking.
Because she did it so well.
Yeah.
Diane Lane.
It reminded me of something I saw in a movie recently. I can't remember the name of the movie, but anyway. Yeah, so he's got Clark's mom tied up and somewhere else, and they don't know where. So Superman has to go try and reason with Batman because he doesn't really want to kill Batman. Even though he was coming down on Batman. We didn't mention this before, but they were building up that hate towards each other that Lex was manipulating, and Superman was just flat out going over to Batman, stop being Batman, or I'm gonna have to take care of you.
Yeah, that was that scene that kind of.
Yeah, that was that scene that you were like, was that a dream? Because it was just you were losing it there because of all the dreams.
God,
but
I don't know.
It was only really, I think there were only like 2 dreams really, but everybody says there's too many dreams in this. It's because it's so it was confusingly put together.
All over the place. place.
Just putting too much, it's true, in the movie. I'm still able to follow it, but I've watched a lot of Batman and Superman stuff, and I'm just enjoying what I like and just dealing with the rest. But in the climax, they fight. Mm-hmm. It's not very long for a movie called Batman versus Superman. And I will say another of my complaints about this particular movie is that we had some stuff with Batman and Superman doing their Batman and Superman stuff, but it didn't seem like much. And this movie was really long. I don't remember how long it was. Was this a 3-hour movie? I don't know.
I don't know if that has
now it's got
to do
30
with
more minutes.
But I was starting to watch my
you
watch, you know, like
playing with your phone.
When is this gonna end?
Just totally not paying attention at various points in the film.
And then Wonder Woman would pop in and I'd be like, yes,
at the climax, except for when Wonder Woman popped in at the climax. But even at the climax, you were just, by then you were done with the movie. I saw you. But
the first time I saw it, I was done with the movie by the time the first dream sequence came in.
Yeah.
I was just like out of it. Mm-mm.
The only thing that hurts your opinion on that is that you didn't like Captain America 3, but
I didn't say I didn't.
No, yeah, you liked it after Spider-Man came in, but it was a very similar story.
I really enjoyed it compared to this one. I mean,
yeah, it's much better.
But it's not my favorite Captain America.
No, but anyway, just messing with you. Okay.
I don't care.
So they fight. It's not very long for what you've been waiting for the whole movie because they didn't do much before as far as seeing Superman do Superman stuff or Batman do Batman stuff. You don't get much in this movie. Mm-hmm. And then there's the climax and they do fight and it's pretty cool fighting. Some of it I thought. Some people didn't. I thought Batman was just beating the crap out of Superman at times, but and really, Batman won that fight. He had Superman down there, and he had the spear with a kryptonite tip right there. And then what happens? Oh, you weren't watching. You weren't watching at that part. Superman is like, you gotta say, Martha's gonna die. Martha's gonna die, and Batman's like, Mom.
Why did you say that name? Why did you say that?
Yeah, and
I know a lot of people hate that.
People would make fun of this a lot.
I'm okay with it. I mean,
it makes sense.
I think it's a little weird that back in the 60s or the 50s or even way before that,
the 30s or 40s,
yeah, because that 60s was Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Like way back when. I mean, why didn't the other universe realize that Martha was the name?
Why did they name them both the same name?
I mean, come on, people.
It's like everybody's mother was named Martha in the
that is the
30s
name.
and 40s.
It makes sense. I mean, if your mom was...
It like jarred him. I mean, his whole life was based on his parents' death. And then somebody's like, you're going to let Martha die. That's going to jog... I mean, he's not stable. Batman's my favorite superhero these days. And maybe he always was. It's hard for me to say. But he's not a stable person.
I mean, that is who he is. He is who he is because of his parents' death, you know?
Yeah.
That's gonna get him. I don't know why people are so upset about that, but I do think that it was, I don't want to say convenient, but I don't know. I mean, it works. It was.
I mean, in a sense, it's kind of clever that they used something like that. I might get a lot of crap for saying that, but it was interesting. It was like, because you don't. Whoever thought about that? I mean, you watch these characters together all the time. You never think, hey, their moms have the same name.
You know what I'll say? But, I enjoyed that moment was because of a kind of a more emotional reason rather than some cooked up reason of, you know what I mean? Like,
I buy it a lot more than I do the motivation for these two fighting.
Right, exactly.
I totally buy Superman's motivation, really, when I think about it. I can see Superman saying, hey, you gotta stop doing this Batman stuff. I can see that. Mm-hmm. And I can totally see him saying, they got my mom, I gotta go kill this guy because he got my mom. I can see that. Yeah. I'll never be able to buy Batman being manipulated like he was in this movie to hate Superman, even though he's emotionally unstable. I think he's too smart to not realize that he's being manipulated.
I think a lot of this movie suffers from some of the writing or the dialogue in it as well. And I think that scene could have been done a little better as far as like the Martha
problems,
thing
yeah.
and stuff like that. But I liked it.
There's some good dialogue in there too.
There is, yeah.
For everybody, and then there's horrible dialogue for everybody, and and it's just the way they decide to portray certain characters. But as far as the whole plot, the biggest problem was jumbling up, putting too many things in there, and somebody, I don't remember, somebody in one of their reviews said it kind of seemed like they took a bunch of scenes and put them in a sack and just poured them out in whatever order they came out in. That was the way it was. You didn't know
where you were,
but,
what moment.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so confusing. And a lot of... my head was hurting by the end of this movie.
It was.
I'm in a band. I mean, noise doesn't usually bother me, but for some reason, this was like really... Yeah. Maybe it's just the mood I was in. Every time I've watched it, but geez Louise, like it was really I don't know. It was just so much coming at me. It was
kind of like watching a Transformers movie where you get in the battle scenes and you don't even know what's happening. All you see are gears and parts and things whirling around and hitting and smacking and people smack talking each other and just like. And it's just a big mess, and people are running, and and you don't know what's going on. But I mean, I can still watch those and be entertained. But I never know what the heck's going on when I watch a Transformers movie. But I get that with this. But anyway, so Superman and Batman make friends, basically because their moms have the same name.
It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I'm really okay with it.
I mean, okay, guys.
I get the goofiness of it.
But when else?
I get everybody who doesn't understand.
How else do you make friends? I mean, from one simple little thing.
It's gotta be one thing. I mean, it could have been like they like.
I like Star Wars. I love Star Wars. It's my favorite series.
Let's be friends.
Yeah, let's be friends.
I'm sorry, I was gonna murder you.
Why not?
But yeah, one. Yeah.
I don't know.
It works for me. It's okay. It's not the thing that bothered me in the movie.
Okay, let's say if these were people who were kind of hateful people, then it might not work so much. But these are good people, when it comes down to it. So they seem a little more forgiving. You know what I mean?
They were gonna straight up murder each other. But
it had to take Superman
was totally ready to be buddies. He just wanted somebody to help him save his mom. So it was up to Batman, and Batman did. I mean, that jogged him to his senses.
Right. Right. Exactly. It had to be something impactful like that.
It's not like everybody's saying. It's not like, oh, your mom's got my mom's name. Oh, we're buddies now. No, it wasn't that. It was just like. It just jogged him, it jogged his brain.
He had gone so far over the deep end at this point, it seemed like,
And it made him see that, like, Superman was, was like a person like him, even though... Because, he was seeing him as this alien force that needed to be destroyed. Really.
Right.
And that doesn't make me buy it anymore, that Batman would do that. But that's the way in the movie he had decided to view Superman, just so that he could just kill him. He just wanted to get rid of him. He just wanted to take out his anger on somebody. But anyway, so they become friends. And so Lex is like, okay, I'm going to have to sick that monster out on him. So he sicks Doomsday on Superman. And so Batman has gone to rescue Martha. And that part's badass. Mm-hmm. And some people say he murders people in that scene, bad guys. But... I don't remember him doing that until the last guy where he does kill him. No, really though, I can't stand to see Batman kill anybody.
I know.
But in the very last scene, which is the only scene that I know 100% he killed somebody, except maybe with his car, but cars don't count, right? He killed that dude because that dude was like, I'll kill her, man. I'll kill her. And I think Batman said, I believe you. And then he just shot. Mm-hmm. He didn't shoot the guy. He shot the dude's something the dude had. I don't remember, a bomb or a gas tank or something. And he just shot that. And the dude just exploded. And
Yeah.
And then so then he goes back to help Superman, and Superman's dealing with that big monster, and Wonder Woman's getting on a plane, and she sees that on the news. One thing that distracted me and took me out of the movie a lot throughout the movie is that the news people were real news people, like from CNN.
Yeah,
and
that was
and they
a
were
little
playing
confusing.
themselves.
That was a little weird.
And they
I was like, are we in a real place? I mean,
that fits more in a Marvel.
not?
That would fit more in a Marvel movie where they're using real locations,
Yeah.
like New York City and stuff.
Oh, well, also, what bothered me is that, like, Metropolis was right next to Gotham. I mean, what is that?
Everybody says that. That doesn't
But
bother me.
seriously-
I don't care about that. So what?
But you
everybody
could
is
see,
saying that. Yeah.
You could see right across to. I mean, it was weird.
Yeah. I've heard that said many
It
times.
should at least take a couple hours to get between the two of them.
That would be
if
better.
You're driving.
That would be better, but I don't care.
Whatever.
But I know everybody's saying that. It's true. But not a huge issue for me. But anyway, so Wonder Woman comes and pops up and surprises the guys, and she starts kicking ass, and she's really doing a lot of damage to this thing.
She's awesome.
And, Lois, of course, is around.
Always getting herself into trouble.
Totally not necessary at this point. You know,
a distraction.
she wasn't in the Justice League TV series. If she ever popped in, I don't remember. She might have popped in once or twice, but yeah, maybe in a couple of episodes where they would have alternate realities and stuff, and it was made a point to show Superman. Like you'd have episodes where Superman was evil.
Well, that's.
And then you'd see how Lois is dealing with it because they're married and all that
That's
stuff.
one thing
But basically, you
I
don't need
haven't-
her in the Justice League type situation.
I haven't seen Superman films in a while, and I don't recall Lois ever being so dependent on Clark and Superman. You know, I feel like she would be kind of. I mean, I know she loves him, but I don't remember her ever being so like in the midst of things with him.
When he's having a battle.
Yeah,
like, with
wasn't
Owens?
she always like off doing other reporting stuff?
No,
I mean,
no, she was in the movies. You mean in like the Christopher Reeve movies? And stuff?
Yeah. I
In
don't
those
remember.
movies, she was usually around. They would like Zod and them like had her hostage there.
Oh
and,
yeah, okay.
Sometimes she was just watching from a window, and sometimes she was right there. And like, remember the girl Zod had it, had her, was holding her. Somebody to fight the girl, you know. And yeah, so she was usually around, but those were Superman movies. You got to have Lois in the Superman movies, but once you bring in Batman and Wonder Woman and these other characters, I do often like say, I wonder where Lois is right now. I used to say it a lot watching the cartoon.
Really?
But just out of curiosity, not because I wanted her to be out in the whole story. I didn't.
Yeah.
I just, was just wondering because they wouldn't even reference her.
Have
They
you
never even mentioned her in the Justice League unless it was one of the rare episodes that she was in.
Have you seen like the original TV show?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I really enjoyed that show.
I used to watch
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I'm super into that time period, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I know it's hokey, but it's great.
Yeah, I think Lois just passed away from that
She
show.
did. Yeah, I was really
Yeah. I met her at Comic-Con a few years back.
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
she's super sweet.
That's cool.
But yeah, but
Sorry,
anyway,
guys. We're all
yeah,
over the place.
so
We're all over the place, much like this movie.
but
Sorry.
they fought the monster, and the monster kills Superman, and Superman kills the monster.
Oh my god, that scene where he just like pierces himself more to get to the monster.
Superman has to use the kryptonite spear, if I remember correctly, and sticks that in the monster, and the monster has spikes all over him, and just pulls Superman in on one or something, or he stuck something through Superman, and they're just pulling each other closer together, embracing and killing each other.
Feeling that warmth.
And so Superman dies, and they have a funeral for him, and also a funeral happens for Clark Kent for some reason.
Which, that is a badass coffin.
Oh, the Superman coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want that.
I think we all want that coffin.
Yeah. I can't live up to that coffin.
Who can?
But I do want the Incredible Hulk piano music playing
Yes.
at my funeral. When they're lowering the thing
Yeah.
that I won't be in. I'll be
Writing that down.
watching the funeral from the sidelines, like. not dead at all. Just done with bills.
Yeah.
Going to another country. And
you don't want to make me mad.
I'll run.
Angry.
No, I'll run. I'll walk sadly away.
Oh, with the rain.
With
anyway.
piano music. And so Superman dies. And that's the way the movie ends. And Batman goes and talks to Wonder Woman at the funeral, and he's like, let's get a group together, putting the band together. And
Putting the band back together.
Yeah. And so Justice League and Wonder Woman movies coming soon. And it's going to be cool.
You forgot the dirt rising from the coffin.
Oh, yeah. Lois throws some dirt on the coffin after she gets a ring from the mom. It's complicated, but
it was very evident in these last few scenes to me how much this movie was jumping around, because it went from his funeral, and then I think it went to a scene with Lex where he was in Arkham, and then it went back to the funeral to where she was about to throw the dirt on.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
because they wanted to end with that dirt.
I understand, but can we please finish the film in a coherent manner instead of going back and forth like that?
It doesn't bother me with some scenes, but then with other scenes, I get how it's really confusing.
At the very end there, it was just like, really, we're gonna do this one more time? Okay, go ahead. I mean, come on. But anyway,
it's like Batman left that funeral to go threaten Lex, and then he came back to talk to Wonder Woman. I think that was Lois after, just Lois in the end. I don't know. But
it was the same.
It was confusing.
I think it was the same. It was supposed to be, because
it would have been just like the same time frame or something.
She grabbed the dirt, and then they cut to Wonder Woman and Batman talking together, and then they cut to the other scene with Lex. And then they cut back to her with the dirt in her hand, and she let it go. So at least that's what I remember from it. If I'm wrong,
I was just right now trying to think of which funeral Batman and Wonder Woman were at. I'm pretty sure it was Clark Kent's funeral.
Yeah, it was.
Because they were talking about
on the farm.
They were talking about how they were burying an empty box out wherever, Metropolis, I guess. I don't know.
So yeah, the movie's over then.
Yeah, and there was something you brought up. Oh God, that I was gonna say something else about the movie. Oh God, you brought up a big point that did bother me also in the movie. What were we talking about? Funeral and the dirt, and I can't remember.
I don't remember.
It was a really good good point I wanted to mention that did bother me, but oh well. That's gonna bug me all night. Anyway,
well,
I'm gonna pause it and think of what I'm trying to think of. Okay, go ahead. Where were we? So the movie ended.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it was okay, but
you hated it.
No. Yeah, I hated it to the point that I wouldn't watch it again.
Oh wait, I remembered.
I wouldn't watch
it.
I
remembered. Hang on. So the thing about this movie, and they take different stories from different comics, and too many stories that they need to do in one movie. Like Death of Superman is one story arc, and then there's the whole Batman versus Superman thing, and then he's putting he's just barely meeting Batman. That's separate from Batman and Superman fighting, because the thing is, Batman and Superman fighting happens way in the future. And also fighting Doomsday, the Death of Superman thing. This stuff is after the Justice League has been together for a while. And I mean, I've heard other people talk about this. You're taking a lot of the drama out of the story because the Justice League is not even there. And there's certain things they just don't have the weight because, Batman and Superman fighting each other was a big deal in the comics because they had been friends for a long time. Right. I mean, they're missing so much.
That's the problem. I mean, why the hell are they fighting each other so much? I mean,
well, they don't do a lot, but I mean, they shouldn't be doing it right now.
Why do they hate each other? Like, there's no.
The reasons weren't that good.
They really seem to hate each other in this movie, and I mean, it's more impactful if they were friends before, but they weren't.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, Batman really seemed to build up a hate for Superman. Seemed like he was just like I think he just was frustrated and he just wanted to. You know, I can see him. You know, dealing with Batman the way he was doing though, but Batman was just straight up. He hated Superman.
Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't watch this movie again. It wasn't enjoyable for me at all. I did not enjoy watching it. I mean, I did not come away from that movie liking it. It was kind of unbearable to me
to watch. I saw you.
Excuse me, unbearable.
I watched you watching it.
I can't talk right now.
Yeah, it's actually like what 3 a.m. right now.
Yeah, it's really late, and I can't think.
We've had long days, but I watched you watching it, and you were just suffering. And
it was bad.
Squirming and like just trying to not at one point not even watch. But yeah, and you've seen it before, so it's not. It was like it was your first time, but. So really, I know that there are a million reviews for this already, and the point of reviewing this right now is because it's on Blu-ray now, and it's got those 30 extra minutes. The 30 extra minutes, there might be a few things it clarifies a little bit, but it's not much. You didn't get much out of those 30 extra minutes. Right?
No. I don't even remember.
The best thing I got out of it was that hot scientist girl.
Yeah, she was cool. I liked her.
Yeah, but her acting felt like it belonged in like something else. Just because it was a totally different tone. The tone of the movie is a big problem. It's the whole DC universe. I think Suicide Squad, I'm hoping is going to shake that up.
That looks really cool.
Wonder Woman, I'm hoping will shake it up.
Wonder Woman's going to be amazing.
The trailer is amazing. Suicide Squad has some really great trailers. I mean, some of the lines that are supposed to be funny are just meh, but I think it's going to be entertaining at the very least. But then sometimes the movie, I mean, I get a lot of entertainment out of this movie. I can watch this movie repeatedly. The first like half, there's a lot of boring parts. The first 2/3, I guess.
When I'm watching a movie or when I walk out of a movie and I'm just constantly thinking the whole time is I could be watching the Christopher Reeve version, or I could be watching the Tim Burton version instead of this, or it makes me immediately want to go watch those versions so that I can erase this version from my mind. That's a bad sign. So, and also, I mean, I have to say that I didn't even want to watch this film a second time in order to do this review. I literally told him, I was like, I'm going to waste 2 hours of my life watching this film. I mean, I don't want to do that. So, yes, it was better the second time. And yes, the acting was great. There were some moments where I was excited to see future films like the Wonder Woman stuff. I mean, she stole the show, but as a whole, I would never watch this movie again unless somebody had me hostage and was making me do it.
Yeah, the actors were great. The acting, yeah, it was great acting, but you could tell it was being stifled with some characters, or in some characters they weren't. The characters they were portraying were not what they were supposed to be, and that was difficult to deal with. The things that I loved in the movie, I wouldn't say that they were more. That there's more things I love than things I don't like, but I love them enough that I can keep watching the movie again. I mean, that we're people who, like, when we like a movie, we watch it a lot.
I will watch a movie over and over.
There's movies and it's not just like, because people will ask you what's the one movie that you watch over and over and over.
No, I watched any movie. I watched Rosemary's Baby like 10 times the other day. It was insane. I mean,
and I watched it at least once that day.
The Shining. I'll watch The Shining over and over again. Or
I've seen those movies more times than I can count.
A New Hope or Return.
All the Star Wars movies.
All the Star over and over again. Jurassic Park over and over.
Various superhero movies. Many superhero movies. We've seen the Superman movies many times. Tim Burton's Batman movies.
I watch that. Whenever I feel like watching Batman, that's the one I put on.
With our holiday movies, we watch religiously every holiday. I watch Hocus Pocus not only at least a couple times every October, but I might watch it other times too. We have other rarer Halloween movies that we watch.
We'll have our own special Halloween sometimes because
we'll have like Halloween
in April because
April
it hasn't been time.
March
it's been too long since the last Halloween.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not rewatchable to me at all.
It's rewatchable to me, but because of certain things. And there's certain things that are always going to upset me. It's those missed opportunities, doing things that we're probably not going to see again. That's the thing about when I was saying like, okay, Zack Snyder is like doing what he wants to do with this movie or whatever, or the producers or somebody's is doing what they want to do with this movie, rather than giving us the best interpretation, the truest interpretation of the characters.
Right.
And it's like, this is the chance, this is the time to do it the best way possible. Because this is the cinematic universe. This is the one that's supposed to represent.
Yeah.
And
sorry, guys.
they didn't bring it in enough in that regard. There were times when they did. I got no complaints on Wonder Woman, you know. So
she was fantastic.
There were times when they did it right in this movie. I don't think they're the majority of the times, but there's enough things that entertain me in the movie that I'll watch it. I'll watch it again. I bought it because I'll watch it again.
I'll be watching Rosemary's Baby in the other room. But anyway.
You can watch.
Yay! I'm keeping this.
Those are my toys.
Aw, he's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah. Superman versus Batman. Yes. And that's the review.
That's it, guys. We're going to call it a night. It's like 4 in the morning. So.
Yeah. I got to patch this video together because the battery stopped at one point.
We're done. I do like this holographic.
This is a cool digibook.
Yeah,
I got at Target. I haven't watched any bonus features yet.
Nice.
Yeah, I was very happy that she's on there. Yeah.
Oh, and then look, guys, it even comes with a book. I didn't know that.
I did a whole review on this
that's cool.
previously.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, it's pick it up if you're one of those people who has to have every movie with Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. Honestly, reason enough to pick up this movie, in my opinion, even though she's not in it like all the time, but like and as Wonder Woman, she's just in it in the climax. But
she's awesome.
Yeah. So
okay.
See you next time.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Night, day,
Night,
whenever
whatever.
you're watching. Bye.
Bye.